The year is 1971. The San Francisco fog is thick tonight, clinging to the hills like a shroud. On a lone street corner sits a battered payphone. From this phone in the shadows, a dial tone connects one man to a legacy of fear. His voice low, he delivers his final message to the world before hanging up forever. This call is to tell you the whereabouts of the missing person from yesterday evening, Mary Anepter. If you want to see her alive, then go to the area near the Golden Gate Bridge where the fog is heavy. As the man walks away from the phone booth, another appears behind him. The officer recognizes the man from the sketch. He's holding a gun. Put your hands up. Before the perp can react, the officer tackles him. The perp brings out a knife and a struggle ensues. Finally subdued and cuffed, the perp's face is revealed beneath his mask. It's Arthur Lee Allen, the man they found in Vallejo. His house is searched and damning evidence is uncovered. Gloves, money, documents, all linking him to the crimes. To the horror of the nation, the fearsome Zodiac has been caught. This is a moment that should bring relief, yet it signals a much larger shift in America. The power of fear has been broken. How would the real world be affected by the sudden downfall of the Zodiac Killer? Let's explore the butterfly effect of a single arrest. We may never know why the Zodiac Killer haunted the streets of San Francisco the late 1960s. His reign of terror began in December of 1968 when he shot and killed two teenagers in a car. In the days that followed, he wrote a letter to the San Francisco Chronicle boasting about the crime. By July 1969, two more victims were added to his list, and the Zodiac struck again. In October, while the motive may forever elude us, the method was clear. The Zodiac relished in the fear he instilled, communicating with the public through puzzles, codes, and ciphers. These messages continue to baffle experts today, but what if they hadn't? What if 1971 was not the year of the Zodiac's demise, but the year of his capture? On New Year's Eve of 1970, the Zodiac fired two shots at a couple in a parked car. He missed. Less than 2 months later, he struck again, killing Paul Stein, a taxi driver. As the investigation heated up, police released a composite sketch of the killer based on eyewitness accounts. The public saw a mustachioed man wearing a black hat, a blue shirt, and a dark pea coat. He wore a black mask that covered the lower half of his face. The killer was dubbed the Zodiac. By mid-January 1971, that sketch would appear in newspapers across the country. The one man staring at that sketch would be unaffected by the image of the killer. A man living in Vacaville, just 30 minutes north of Travis Air Force Base. This man was Arthur Lee Allen, an animal control supervisor for the city of Vallejo. At the time of the murders, Allen was in uniform working as an exterminator. His life revolved around animals, mostly pests. When he wasn't eradicating rodents, he collected insects, birds, roadkill, and anything else that caught his eye. His colleagues described him as quiet and introverted. Some called him creepy. When he smiled, he bared his teeth. He kept to himself. He was married and had two sons. Life seemed unremarkable until January 14, 1971, when Allen visited his dentist. During the appointment, Allen asked for a refill of the sedative phenobarbital. According to dental records, Allen had been a longtime customer of the drug. In fact, he had picked up another refill just 6 weeks prior. But this time there was a problem. There was no record of Allen buying the pills in November. The dentist was suspicious. He notified authorities. Soon, Allen was questioned by police. It was a routine check. After all, narcotics were a big deal back then. Police checked other pharmacies and found nothing. The incident ended as quickly as it started. Allen was cleared and went back to work. But the police kept thinking about something. Something didn't add up. Allen was the perfect suspect, except he wasn't. But the pieces of the puzzle didn't stop clicking. The dentist called the police the following month, January, and told them he thought the man he gave the pills to was the Zodiac. Just days later, the Zodiac struck again. He stabbed a woman 13 times. She survived. The police returned to Alan. He agreed to take a lie detector test, which he passed. Even so, the officers noted he displayed signs of anxiety and nervousness. But when they searched his house, they found nothing connecting him to the attacks. They questioned his wife. She said he'd been with her at the time of the murders. Again, Alan was free to go. Then came the third letter from the Zodiac. Its contents shocked the nation. The letter read, "I want to give the names of the people that have helped me in my killings, and this is their names." The letter listed several names. Then, scrawled in seemingly random letters, was the name of a local San Francisco detective. Detective Donald Fouke. The last name was misspelled. The police were baffled. Was this some kind of sick joke? Was the Zodiac mocking them? Had he intentionally misspelled the name? Everyone assumed it was a red herring, another one of the Zodiac's cruel jokes. That is until police searched Alan's home again. They found the letter along with a receipt from a stationery store in Vallejo. The receipt listed several items, including notepaper, ruled loose leaf paper, envelopes, and, most strikingly, spelling correction slips. The police knew they needed to question Alan again, but they didn't expect what happened next. Alan was given a choice. Either he could voluntarily take a polygraph or the police would get a warrant and search his home. Alan chose to take the polygraph. The results were inconclusive, but it didn't matter. The police knew they had enough evidence to search his house. They did. The results, gloves, money, documents, all linking him to the crimes. Alan was arrested in April. Alan was tried for murder. The public watched in suspense as prosecutors presented their case against him. Eyewitnesses testified, forensic evidence was examined. And for the first time, Americans could put a face to the monster. As Alan was led into the courtroom, cameras flashed. He stared straight ahead, his face ashen. All the while, hidden in his cell, Alan was losing his mind. Unable to understand the charges against him, he repeatedly told guards, "I didn't do it. I didn't do it." His lawyers argued unsuccessfully that the evidence was circumstantial and that confessions were coerced. Alan was found guilty and sentenced to 25 years to life. He became known as the Monster of Vacaville. But what if Alan's arrest and conviction were the only change to history? What ripples would this have on the world? Serial killers often escape notice for years. Their crimes are overlooked, their victims forgotten. Many of these cases go unsolved. The world moves on while the families of the dead are left searching for answers. But what if one family got their day in court? What if the Zodiac Killer's reign of terror ended in 1971? The death of Arthur Lee Allen was a pivotal moment in American history. Not only was a dangerous killer brought to justice, but an entire generation was shown the fragility of innocence. No longer could they ignore the lurking darkness. This event triggered a seismic shift in American culture. First and foremost, there is the impact on victims and their families. While no victory can truly heal the wounds of loss and trauma, having the killer brought to justice would offer a sense of closure that eluded many families in our own timeline. Additionally, the exposure of the Zodiac's identity would likely result in a surge of reported crimes. Women would be less likely to ignore unsettling encounters or downplay the threat posed by stalkers. The slightest oddity, any unsettling interaction would be taken more seriously, leading to more investigations and hopefully more successful outcomes. Furthermore, the capture of the Zodiac served as an inspiration for future victims. It showed that it is possible to escape the clutches of a stalker. No longer would some victims wait until the very last moment to fight back. The chilling effect of fear would diminish as more people armed themselves and prepared to defend themselves. Allen's capture in 1971 would also likely lead to a surge in investigations of cold cases, especially those involving similar modus operandi. More resources and attention would be directed towards analyzing old evidence, interviewing witnesses again, and exploring new leads. This renewed focus might bring resolution to many families who have waited decades for justice. Finally, the safety of society would increase. Many serial killers operate because they know they can get away with it. The Zodiac Killer thrived on terrorizing the public, knowing that his crimes were almost impossible to solve. With his capture, however, future criminals would think twice before acting. Knowing that there is a chance of being caught, convicted, and spending the rest of their lives behind bars would deter many would-be serial killers. In our timeline, the mystery of the Zodiac Killer continues to fascinate us. Books, documentaries, and podcasts keep the conversation alive, ensuring that his name echoes through the decades. But what if that story had a different ending? What if Arthur Lee Allen had been brought to justice? This alternate reality opens up a world of possibilities. Victims receive the closure they deserve. Fear gives way to vigilance and justice is served. But perhaps the most intriguing question remains, would we be safer without the specter of the unsolved Zodiac case looming over us? Let me know what you think.